everyone, Lou here. With October comes Halloween, and with Halloween comes spooky content on this channel. Why not kick off spooky month by doing a highly requested video? This is a Vocaloid disturbing iceberg. This one in particular I found a while ago by help, I don't know what to put, on Reddit, whose post will be linked down below if you'd like to support their post or comment or whatever. This video I'll be going over this iceberg tier and explain each song. Remember that this is a disturbing Vocaloid song iceberg, so there will be triggering topics brought up. If you are triggered by abusive relationships, mental health issues, child abuse, CSA, SA, violence, and death, then please don't watch this video and instead check out any other videos I do on Vocaloid. I also have to cut this video into two parts because I'm super pressed for time since last week's video really did a number on my schedule, so I gotta save my sanity in the editing department here. Alright, let's get started. The Riddler Who Can't Solve Riddles. Released March 2010, this is part of a small story series made by Hinata Haruhana or Harunana17, featuring Rin and Len as the Riddler and Solver. It's actually surprisingly long and pretty vague in its storytelling, but TLDR, Len plays a detective character who knew this girl as a child and saved her from a burning building, losing his arm in the process. He followed her everywhere as a detective until they reached some sort of yacht party where the song says he killed everyone for her or something. Then there's a sequel song where the girl doesn't believe that and wants to save the detective because I guess she likes him too. The original song can be spooky if you're really young, like really young, like so young you shouldn't be in the Vocaloid community. Otherwise, the song is just kind of catchy and interesting to guess whether it's true or not that the detective is the murderer. Gothic and Loneliness, I'm the Very Diva. I'm gonna be honest, I only know this song because it's one of the most difficult songs to play in Project Diva. Released on May 2011 by Narushima Takashi. The song is about a boy who stumbles upon a mansion where an immortal girl lives there whose immortality has taken a toll on her mental state and they become a toxic relationship. Some say yandere, but I think that's honestly just downplaying the themes of isolation, loneliness, and codependency. Music-wise, I think it actually rocks, and reminds me of the opening music for Rosen Maiden's anime. Again, not scary unless your age is in the single digits. I love Gothic Lolita and Gothic Horror, so this is just an awesome song, despite being a bitch to play in Project Diva. 50/50. I had actually never heard of this song before. To be honest, I thought this had something to do with 4chan or something until I heard and read the description. Released in November 2009 with the music done by Rishu and the lyrics done by Kazu. I don't know much else about these two because their Nico Nico page is technically deleted, sort of, so I'm just gonna guess they were an experimental duo who poofed when, like, the song didn't do well. The song is about Miku's character being best friends with a girl named Mari-chan. The character and Mari are total besties, but then Mari starts neglecting her best friend in favor of a boyfriend. It makes the main character sad, and near the end of the song, she decides she'll cut Mari in half so her boyfriend and her can have equal quality time. Obviously, Mari dies horribly, and it just ends there. To be honest, I think this one is just kind of shock value and a little lame. This song is supposed to have a plot twist in the end, but you can spot it a mile away by the title, the music style, and even the music video when it shows Miku with a paper doll cut in half. It is a neat idea though, but I think the execution definitely could have been better. Hide and Seek. In a very rare instance, this is a Korean Vocaloid song by Hoong-yi, released in January 2012. It's kind of sad this is one of Siyu's biggest hits, when Siyu is such a cute Vocaloid, but I'm glad the Cyber Cat girl has at least one hit under her belt, even if the super famous version of the song doesn't actually have her singing it. The song is about an evil spirit, girl, possessed girl, or something like that, who is playing hide and seek with a boy. The boy is caught by the evil girl and becomes evil too. It's all very open to interpretation, so you can decide for yourself on why this is happening. I read the wiki for the song that maybe the boy did something wrong and is being punished. I always grew up with theories that this was just a yandere song, and then others believe this was referring to urban legends in both Korea and Japan about never playing hide and seek alone. What made this song largely blow up is cover artist Liz Robinette's English cover of the song, to the point where it has 5 times the views as the first YouTube upload of the song. It was originally on a place called TV Pot. By the way, it was never on YouTube, but I think it's been taken down since then. I've never heard of TV Pot before. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Liz's covers and her singing is beautiful, but sometimes it can sting a little when the cover of a Vocaloid song does better than the original. I don't know, I just like seeing the original creator get supported too, you know? That said, this song is extremely catchy and has great vague storytelling in turning what is innocent lyrics into something more sinister. Crazy Clown. Released on October 2008 by Intro P, this is just... oof. I had never heard of this song, and I can see why. This song isn't really creepy, and it just is kind of bad, at least to me. The song is less about a scary situation and more about things that scare children. You know, like a fish dying or a clown coming at you in the dark covered in blood. Now, I do have an immense fear of clowns, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, even Ronald McDonald scared me as a kid, but this song is just a little too upbeat and too edgy for me to consider it a genuinely dark song. If my age were in the single digits, I could see this song scaring me. Released in April 2009 by Nashimoto Wei, this song is actually a bop, even though I think the use of Miku is just a smidge ill-fitting for the ah part. As for what the song is about, it's honestly really vague. It's generally about heartbreak, but whether it's due to a breakup or depression is really left vague. The song could also be about her ending her own life, but again, left super vague here. It's generally a good example in how extremely vague a lot of Vocaloid songs can be. Generally, these experimental artists prefer not to spell out the feelings of the song and just leave it up to the viewer. That said, I do really like this song. The instrumentals are really good. Rugrats Theory. Total classic to me. Released on September 2011 by Crusher P, it's actually their first hit. The reason Crusher even got the name Crusher is because this song earned them the nickname of Childhood Crusher P by many other producers. Though the original was sung by Luca's English voice bank with a later version featuring Kayuki and a Japanese translation by XX Fence XX. Sadly, both versions were taken down by Crusher P for unknown reasons, besides maybe the cringe of the whole thing. The song is based off of the fan theory and later creepypasta entry for the classic 90s cartoon Rugrats. The theory goes that Angelica's mom was huffing some stuff she shouldn't have while pregnant with her, so it gave her schizophrenia, and then her dad's brother and his friend group all suffered with newborn deaths at the same time, so she just hallucinated that they all survived. The creepypasta wiki actually goes into more detail, but an example being that the show's first 2 seasons did heavily imply early on that Tommy was born prematurely or was a NICU baby, so the theory twists that and that he actually did die prematurely instead of surviving. It's honestly one of those really dumb, innocent children show is creepy the whole time theories, but I have to admit that if you were a kid, that I can see this being creepy. The song and theory did originally creep me out when I first heard it at like 14-ish. Now, I don't think this is really creepy, but I do think the instrumentals are surprisingly chilling and a pretty decent job at portraying the spiraling of a toddler. I think if Crusher made it today, which obviously they wouldn't, when I know Crusher struggles with mental health and likely finds their old content of this to be an offensive portrayal, it probably would have done better at being a chilling song showing the sinister mind of a toddler who can't really discern reality and fantasy and is hallucinating a bunch of babies apparently. Trick and Treat. The best Halloween Vocaloid song to me. I adore this song and listen to it just about every Halloween since I heard it all those years ago. Released on October 2008 by the beloved Oster Project, let's be honest, this song slaps as a fun little Halloween song and I honestly can't really consider it disturbing or creepy at all. It's about a person who meets a boy and girl who bring them into the forest with the promise of sweets and toys, only it turns out they're malicious and plan to do, I don't know, kill you, kidnap you, steal from you. The song is super vague on what they're actually gonna do, because Oster Project doesn't really write dark songs in my opinion, so this is their darkest song. This song reminds me of a reverse Hansel and Gretel with its super whimsy music, its fun little Halloween fairy tale aesthetics, and I adore it to pieces. Seriously, put this on your Vocaloid playlist because it's perfect for Halloween. Sadistic Music Factory. Made by the king of the world's highest BPM, Cosmo, this song released on August 2012 as a commissioned song for Project Diva F and was continuously featured in Project Diva ports after. Even now it's in Project Diva Feature Tone on Steam. The song's meaning can be disturbing if you experience the anxiety and stress of content creation. If you don't really understand that grueling schedule and climb, then it's honestly hard to understand, because I notice people can take this song literally, that the character is actually trying to seriously eat you. The song is about the crippling stress that comes with being a producer, as your fans and other factors pressure you to keep making content, because fans and other factors will never be satisfied with what you put out. It's a really great song lyrically in expressing how awful the feeling is, and you can see the influence of other vent songs in the Vocaloid industry, like Unhappy Refrain by Wawaka. As someone who has suffered from burnout and the stress of constantly feeling this need to produce Vocaloid covers despite having no motivation for it, I can really relate to this song, and so I really recommend it as a really great vent song to listen to, or maybe to understand what it's like for Vocaloid producers. That said, I'm not a huge Cosmo fan. This isn't really the greatest song ever to me, just Cosmo really hit with those lyrics. The Madness of Duke Venomania. This is part of the Avilius Chronicles series by Mothi and is the Song of Lust in the 7 Deadly Sins portion of the series. Fun fact, this song was actually the first Vocaloid song I ever heard, despite being way too fucking young to hear this song when I heard it. The song for this is very complicated, and I'm currently working on a series explaining the Avilius Chronicles, so I recommend checking that out if you want the full messy story, but TLDR, a man named Sadistic Venomania, I hope I'm saying that right, I could never figure out if it was Sadaraces, I don't know, I'm just saying what I can. Makes a deal with a witch to become a handsome man after being born an ugly barnacle, and ends up with magical powers that attract women from anywhere and everywhere, no matter how far, and so he basically hypnotized a bunch of women to become part of his harem. Aside from clearly drugging women to boink them, the song does get disturbing when the music video actually blurs the ages of some of the victims, one of which is clearly based off of Kayuki by her name, so Sadistic Venomania is absolutely vile for that. Luckily, Kaito's character of Karchis Krim kills him and sets all the women free, so it's a happy ending when his madness is over. I mean, if it wasn't about a person who doesn't know what consent is, the instrumentals for the song slap so unbelievably hard. Mothi killed it with the instrumentals. Fear Garden. Released July 2008 by Cha, this song ended up with a very popular music video that became the popular way to interpret the song. To be fair, the music video is very well done and the imagery is cool. Aside from being Yoshikage Kira's theme song, I'm actually not a fan of this song from a music standpoint. It's just too overstimulating for me, and Rin's flat singing just makes this song sound kind of like toilet water. This is just my opinion though. Obviously, I'm not here to say what's good or bad in a Vocaloid song, just stating my opinion that I don't think this song is very good. The song is basically about a girl who has a garden of severed hands that she has to keep secret, but then the song takes a possible turn where you're not really sure if this girl is telling the truth or not. Like I said, there's a fan-made music video made by Slept that elaborates on the lyrics, but as I said, it is a genuinely well-made video, even if it is technically not the creator's vision, since this is a fan-made video. Scissor Lloyd. Made by Zawazawa-P on August 2009, it's honestly just a yandere interpretation of Luca and Miku. This song is an interpretation of Miku where she's a yandere who's upset her producer isn't using her anymore, so she decides she'll kill Luca, but then she feels bad because Luca has been like a sister to her. Then in another plot twist, Luca kills her so she can have the producer all to herself. The song is just so silly to me, and I prefer Zawazawa-P's other song Kagome Kagome if you want a song that genuinely sounds somewhat chilling and tells a somewhat scarier story, even if that one is just a creepypasta, but we'll get to it, it's on the list. Like, even as a kid, this song wasn't disturbing to me, it's just edgy and a bit goofy if I'm being honest. The Last Supper. Released by the absolute GOAT that is the group SCL project, which consists of Natsu-P and Haku. This is admittedly one of their weaker songs when Loveless is a fucking bop, and so is Lost Time Memory. Seriously, please listen to those other two songs because they are so good and some of my favorite Gakupo songs. The song is about a woman, played by Len, who is dying of an illness. The men she's in love with, I think, played by Gakupo and Kaito, who love her, prepare just about any food they can to try and cure her illness, but nothing works. In the end, they realize the last thing they ever tried to cure her illness is themselves, so they decide to sacrifice themselves so she'll eat them and cure her illness. Apparently, eating these two guys does actually cure her, maybe because of their love, except she's grieving because she doesn't have them anymore because she loved them. She tries to yeet herself, but I guess she's immortal now? The music video is really vague on this part. Classic SCL project though. Their whole shtick is doing love triangle stories with Gakupo and Kaito's characters or likeness, with Len portraying a woman or gender ambiguous character. Despite the gimmick, seriously, check out their work. It slaps so hard. This is the Happiness and Peace of Mind Committee. Released by Utata P on June 2012, this song is an absolute bop, and one of my favorites to play in Project Diva, actually. This song seemingly takes place in a sort of dystopian world where there's a committee to make people happy or else they'll be brutally murdered. The song originally starts off like a soft ballad and then swings full into the industrial sounding EDM, and it is awesome. You could view this song as a means of venting out how society always wants us to be happy, and any negative emotions like sadness or anger is met with societal punishment, especially in Japan where it's often normalized to bottle up your negative emotions. The song is also part of a series called the Happiness series that features other songs with similar themes. My personal favorite being there's supposed to be a cheat code to happiness, because I really relate to that theme of anxiety and societal pressure to achieve all these things as quickly as possible. It's really great stuff. Prisoner. Released on November 2008 by Shujin P. It was originally with Rin, but they released later a Len version that did way better, so that's been the definitive version since. The story is about a boy who's a prisoner in a camp that looks a little too similar to a certain camp in World War II, who meets a girl who lives freely on the other side. He likes the girl and wanted to know more about her, so he wrote letters in secret and tried to send it to her on her way from a paper airplane. They eventually reply back and forth to each other, but then the girl says she's being forced to leave. A sequel song later explains that she's actually very sickly, so she has to leave to the hospital where she eventually dies of her illness, and her father is one of the prison higher-ups who is apparently furious the boy was talking to her. The boy is left heartbroken and is eventually gassed to death as he desperately wishes he could at least know her name. The song eventually received 2 novels that elaborate on the story more. I couldn't find the name of the novels, but apparently they exist. And a sequel song that I just mentioned a bit ago that explains more of the girl's character. I think the song is just really disturbing for its real-life historical parallels to certain camps that I can't mention on YouTube. And I can't really say it's a good idea to make a song that technically profits off or romanticizes something so horrific, but maybe that's just me who feels talking about that kind of stuff should be handled with a lot more respect than just, "Isn't this sad?" you know? Close and Open, Demons and the Dead. Released July 2009 by Hachi, otherwise known as Kenshi Yonezu, who did the opening for Chainsaw Man. This is one of Hachi's more mysterious songs. The song is clearly heavily inspired by traditional Japanese horror tales via its music and lyrics, but the actual meaning is something Hachi has purposefully left vague, and merely said the song is about depicting the cruelty of innocent children. It's widely believed, based solely on the lyrics, that the song is about children being forced into selling themselves. I can't say the word due to YouTube, but I'm sure you can guess what I mean. That, or children making deals with demons because of the cruelty they see around them. I did go into more detail in a video, I can't actually remember which one, but I personally think the song is more about children witnessing how cruel adulthood and society is, and already beginning to mimic that cruelty they see around them. It's like a generational trauma thing, I guess. I hope I'm making sense with this. However, if you believe the more popular interpretation, this song actually is somewhat disturbing for that. But again, the lyrics are vague, so up to you on what this song actually is about. Ant Observation. Released July 2008 by Healing P, this is a song about a boy who is watching ants like all children do. The boy stomps on one of the ants and purposefully kills it, but the ants take vengeance and brutally murder the boy, and also eat his soul. The next day, a girl accidentally kills an ant when her mom calls her for lunch, and the cycle continues. The song is just so fucking silly to me, but as someone with a major phobia for bugs, the concept of a bunch of ants coming into my bed and trying to eat me is genuinely terrifying. Even if most ants are generally harmless. You know, bugs still freak the shit out of me, so the imagery alone in the song is something I can finally say is somewhat creepy. Psychogram. Released May 2009 by the GOAT of the Vocaloid community, Deco27, the song is about an abusive relationship with a lot of obsession and codependency issues. The boy in the relationship, who I think is also being physically abused by his girlfriend, tries to end the relationship, but she ends up killing him and then herself. The lyrics in particular do a really good job at depicting someone with a severely abusive and obsessive relationship is like, without making this a stereotypical yandere song. Because I think some of it could actually be viewed that way if it was written by the wrong person. Overall, another slap from Deco27, and it is just generally sad to see an abusive relationship written so well. Evil Food Eater Conchita. Another song, a part of Mothi's Ivilius Chronicles, specifically the 7 Deadly Sins chapter of the series, and this one tackles gluttony. I also covered this in my video explaining the Ivilius Chronicles, so TLDR, because this series is ridiculously long and overly complicated. Bonica Conchita ends up possessed by a demon of gluttony. The demon makes her want to devour the entire world, and so she does, including the chef and her servants. In the end, she ends up eating herself and becoming the new demon of gluttony. The novel version goes deeper than this, and I think this is what makes the song a bit more disturbing, where she has a child with the chef and almost eats her baby, but stops herself and instead eats herself instead, as well as Bonica having an eating disorder due to childhood trauma before becoming possessed. This song is a bop though, and I love a good Meiko song, so despite the disturbing themes, I think this song is great. Love Love Nightmare. I'd actually never heard of this Vocaloid song before, and I'm sad I hadn't because this song slaps unbelievably hard. Released September 2008 by Kichi, it's largely believed this song is just another basic cannibal yandere song, but I think this goes a lot deeper than just a yandere song. The song seems to be about someone forced into a loveless relationship where I think both parties end up becoming toxic to each other, where the main character feels starved in the relationship and desires for actual love instead of something so toxic and empty. Rather than breaking up, the main character feels like it's better to go overboard in the relationship and uses cannibalism metaphors as a means to explain the unhealthy abuse patterns the main character is showing in a desperate attempt for their lover to actually love them. Not bad, to be honest. Mainly the music is incredible, and I think the chaotic but slapping industrial EDM is a good way to show the spiraling of someone who just wants to be loved, I guess. Alice Human Sacrifice. Released by Yugami P in April 2008, this song is actually one of the first fan songs for a creepypasta of the same name. At least, I think so, I'm not 100% sure. I never understood how the hell this creepypasta works, even after reading it a dozen times, but something about a being or dream makes 4 people go to Wonderland in hopes of becoming Alice. First was a warrior woman who went to Lulu after killing a bunch of people and later fled into the woods. Second was a man with a beautiful singing voice, and Wonderland made him crazy, so he died singing or something. Third was a woman who became Wonderland's queen and was obsessed with beauty, who became crazy, I guess, I don't know. Finally were twins who had the highest potential of being Alice, who didn't go crazy at all, only to be killed by the first Alice. I'm just generalizing it though, since this song story is actually really long, and obviously this is a long video. The song is actually pretty good though. Just like hide and seek earlier though, someone named Rie popularized the song via a cover with other utaite or Vocaloid cover artists who did surprisingly a good job at mimicking their respective Vocaloids. Like I said, I'd like to see more support towards the original artist, but that's just me. Overall, I do really like this song, and I think it does a pretty good job at telling a story about a bunch of people who just go nuts from a dream. Pink Rabbit. Despite being made by Healing P on July 2008, the song is quite literally just the story of William Afton from the Five Nights at Freddy's series of games, about someone dressing up as a rabbit and killing a bunch of kids. This song actually did jump scare me with its more intense parts because I wasn't expecting it, as I hadn't heard the song before, and listening to it completely alone actually did give me the creeps. The lyrics are pretty numbing if you're used to Five Nights at Freddy's, but the song itself is actually surprisingly creepy and does a good job at giving you a chill down your spine from the sudden shift. Secrets of Wisteria. Released October 2014 by Steam Pianist, the song is easily one of the most disturbing here for what it is actually about. The song is about the victims of real-life serial killer Albert Fish, who killed and ate children. He did a lot more than just kill and eat them, but I'm not going to go into detail because I have limits, and what he did is too vile to mention. The song even includes a reverse audio reading of Albert Fish's letter he wrote to one of the victim's parents, where he bragged he didn't violate her and just ate her because she tasted better that way. It's genuinely disgusting and sick, and I don't think it was appropriate to put it in a song. I personally think this song is in poor taste because I think the lullaby or fairy tale aspect to it feels like it's downplaying how evil this man actually was. Yes, he was an urban legend to children after he was exposed at the time, and yes, this was about 100 years ago, but the fact remains this man was fucking evil and shouldn't have a lullaby fairy tale song about his actions. I have to agree with the controversy that this song is a disturbing song and it is in extremely poor taste. Steam Pianist makes good music, no lie, but this was not an appropriate subject to make a song out of. Black and White Ward. Released May 2008 by Yugami P, this song's singing is weirdly quiet and hard to listen to. Like, half the time I can't hear Len in this song, and I can't tell if this was on purpose or because the instrumentals were too loud. Anyway, this song is about a boy and girl who are in some kind of purgatory, I think. In this song, the boy needs a heart transplant or he's going to die, and I guess the girl is someone he's related to or knows him, who believes he will be a good heart match. I don't know how he thinks that. Except they were supposed to exchange, I think, meaning that she was supposed to live and he was supposed to die, but I guess the boy wasn't having that. He then starts stabbing the girl in the real world after she points out how to get out of here. She somehow becomes his heart donor. I don't know how no one noticed she was murdered and all that, but oh well. Then a doctor, I guess, tells him to be careful out of the corner of his eye, and when he wakes up, he sees the girl saying they were supposed to exchange, so I guess she's gonna take over his body? I don't know, the song sounds like a manic episode, and the lyrics are really hard to follow. There are fan videos with popular interpretations. I'm guessing were inspired by the disappearance of Hatsune Miku and play with themes of gender dysphoria instead, but the creator's interpretation is just really hard to follow. BacterialContamination. Released February 2012 by Kanimiso P, with the music video done by the famous Teno. This song also features the fan character Kalin Ka, who is a Miku derivative. Possibly due to Kalin Ka's appearance or the music video's disturbing imagery, people take this song literally as a girl spreading a literal bacterial infection to people and goes evil, but this song is actually about bullying. The bacterial contamination is just a metaphor for isolation and illness that comes from bullying, and in the song she basically admits she bullied another girl to make herself feel better, and that girl ended her own life, and so she feels overwhelming guilt. The song ends with her throwing away that guilt to make herself feel better by showing that she feels better when she spreads the disease or bullying. It's a way to explain that the cycle of bullying is like a disease, and it's a disease where you feel better if you pass it on to somebody else. It's honestly a really sad song if it wasn't for the badass music and Dano's creepy ass imagery. Seriously, all these years later and the music video still gives me the creeps in a lot of areas. Rolling Girl. The classic by Wawaka, the OG song that has become the anthem for every neurodivergent Vocaloid fan for years, and it's one of my favorite Vocaloid songs of all time. Now there is a fan video that interprets this song about a girl who's mentally ill or bullied who ends her own life or is killed, but the actual song's lyrics are more about the struggle of mental illness. The song does explain that she is lonely in her struggle, but the song is more about someone trying to stop themselves from spiraling in their mental illness, this spiral being a metaphor of rolling. Holding your breath and stopping your breath can be metaphors for hyping yourself up to stop your mind from struggling, much like those with anxiety disorders who will do breathing exercises to stop panic attacks. Then again, Wawaka has always made very vague lyrics, so it's up to you guys. Why this is here is beyond me. I'm guessing it's because Wawaka sadly passed away, and the popular fan-made video made by Aki Akane and Yamako is more disturbing in depicting physical abuse and possible murder, so in my personal interpretation of the song as someone with generalized anxiety disorder, I love the song to pieces and view it almost as an anthem that we're not alone and that we're all rolling one way or another. Kagome Kagome. Released by the king of spooky Vocaloid songs, Zawazawa-P, this song is based off a creepypasta called Kagome Kagome. I did a video going into more detail, but basically it's about you-know-what scientists experimenting on their ally of Japan by using orphan children and trying to find immortality by flicking some switch in the brain. Surprise, surprise, the kids are all immortal now, so that means they're automatically creepy, and then later in the modern day, if you encounter them in Hiroshima, you have to play the game Kagome Kagome with them until you die or something. For context, the game is a real-life Japanese children's game, and it's basically like Duck Duck Goose and Ring Around the Rosie had a baby. Overall, I think this song is much better at sounding chilling, and the story is somewhat plausible enough to believe at first glance. Obviously it's not, but it's still a creepy concept at least. Three-letter word. A song by Crusher P, and I struggled to find any information on because Crusher deleted this song well before I got into Vocaloid, at least I think so, because I definitely don't remember seeing this song when I first found Crusher and binged all their content. This is an extremely early song by Crusher that was a vent song about Crusher's thoughts of self-harm and desire of self-deletion. Crusher has always been extremely vocal about their severe depression, an example being Aoki Gahara and even Echo to some extent, but this one is just so upfront about it that it's honestly kind of disturbing to see someone's desire to hurt themselves and the relief it brings, just being so upfront about that. I can see why Crusher deleted it. I think it must have been a bit too personal, and the depiction of self-harm could definitely trigger someone into a relapse if they've recovered from hurting themselves. Overall, this song is genuinely very sad to hear and kind of disturbing, so I can see why it's here. Story of a Poor Blue Rabbit. Ah, behold, the worst Kaito song ever made. I made a video discussing the worst Vocaloid songs ever, and I will die on the hill that this song sounds like used toilet water boiling in the sun. Made by Yami P in April 2009, this song is the worst instance of using Kaito I have ever seen and is far from disturbing to me. This song is just about a yandere rabbit. It's a rabbit who goes full yandere when their owner spends time with someone else or something, murders their owner, and then gets sad that their owner died. Some say it's disturbing because real-life rabbits are violently territorial both in the wild and sometimes domestically, but I think we all know from Monty Python and the Holy Grail and The Sims 4 that rabbits are not to be trusted.
Run away! Run away! Run away!
With that, that's the end of Layer 3 and the end of this video. Tune in about 2 weeks-ish for part 2 of this iceberg, where hopefully I can knock out layers 4 through 8 pretty easily. I see a lot of easy to explain songs there, but I've also seen a lot I've never heard of on later layers, so hopefully it'll probably be easier to make and probably won't take a while. If you're new here, I recommend subscribing so you don't miss out where part 2 is uploaded, and hey, I upload a bunch of other videos that are really cool, so check them out. It's Halloween season on my channel, and next week is another horror themed video, so check it out. What do you guys think so far? Are there any songs here you find disturbing? For me, I think Secrets of Wisteria and the three-letter word are the most disturbing so far, but I'm curious what you guys think.